There comes a time in everyone's life when you need to decide if you're going to stand up for what is right or be complacently silent. When you look around you, do you think that people are being honest with you? With themselves? Or do you think that no matter how often you try to do the right thing, you're still being cheated and swindled out of honest opportunities? A few months ago, before the pandemic hit and we could still all see each other's faces in public, I went to the grocery store to pick out some stuff. Food, mostly, I imagine. Who can remember? All I know is that I didn't have to buy that much, because I qualified to be one of the chosen few that could use the express lane. Now, there aren't many prerequisites in order to be allowed into that hollow lane. Number 1, you must have 10 items or less. And number 2, you must have a sense of honor. Normally, there are 6 self-checkout lines at the grocery store. On this day, however, 2 of the machines were not operational. So, yeah, there was a line forming. Now, this absolute logistical clusterfuck wasn't being monitored by a staffer. So we being the shoppers, we being the dutiful adherents to the buying and selling of goods, we being the worshippers of the almighty supply chain, we had to fend for ourselves. Now, I stood in line waiting patiently for my turn to check out. Now, you might not know this, but I'm one vigilant motherfucker, and I'm constantly on the lookout for marauders and ne'er-do-wells. So I decided to look around, scope out the scene a bit, yeah? And there were some right proper folk in this line. Now, right ahead of me, there was a couple with just the essentials for some pasta dish they were planning on making. Cheese, noodles, some veggies and sauce, and a bottle of wine. But behind me, there was a lady with a cart absolutely full of groceries. I turned back to face the line and just shook my dang head. I don't know who this lady thought she was fooling getting into the express lane with a month's worth of groceries, but I was glad to be ahead of her. Now, minutes passed until it finally was my time to check out, and I stepped towards one of the far machines, but to my disappointment, it was shut down. So, I turned around and started to walk to a different machine when I looked up and saw the woman with a full cart of groceries standing in front of the machine. My machine! The machine I was destined to use! My birthright! My heart sank. I wish I could say that anyone who saw my face saw my disappointment, but everyone's face was so glued to their phones that they couldn't care to look up and see the injustices being committed in front of them. That meant I had to deal with this myself. Hey! I barked. There's a line. I was next. The woman stopped scanning her Mormon doomsday prepper amount of groceries and looked at me with fear in her eyes. She knew what she had done. She knew that she had broken a beloved social contract and hoped there would be no consequences. And then she said something I never thought I would hear anyone in her situation say. What could I do? Her voice wavering and unsure of itself. I scoffed, struck by the sheer audacity of her actions combined with that poor, piddling response. I wasn't going to let that slide. She cut in line. She took my spot. I was freaking besmirched, man. So I geared up, and I really let her have it. I tell you, I gave her what for. I told her, I said, "Is this how you live your life?" Boom. Checkmate. You done. She shrugged, mouth agape, and turned back to finishing checking out her groceries. Sure, she didn't give up her spot, but she knew what she had done and had lost the moral victory. Now, in the middle of all this, I felt someone put a hand on my shoulder, and I heard them say, "Oh, hey." I turned around to look at who had touched me, and it was none other than Barack Obama. You saw something. You said something. And I think I speak for myself, Michelle, Sasha, and Malia, when I say you are a true American hero. The store went fucking nuts. Everyone cheered for me. The people behind me got out of line and picked me up, chanting, "Connor, hero! Connor, hero!" They carried me outside, and all of the grocery store employees followed. The adoring crowd carried me over to a gigantic float, and we began driving down Main Street. Barack and I were at the front, and all the people still in the store ran outside, got in their cars, and followed behind us. The criminal line cutter, flustered and embarrassed that everyone considered me a hero and her a dumb idiot, ran out in front of us protesting the celebration of me. "Wait, you don't have a permit, you can't!" But it was too late. The parade kept moving and we ran her over. Me and Barack looked behind us and saw that she was still alive, but had been flattened like a pancake. And we laughed and laughed